The year is 1583. It's the dead of a London night. A courier, soaked to the bone, pounds on a door. Inside, Sir Francis Walsingham, the Queen's principal secretary, is roused from a feverish, fitful sleep. The dispatch he opens isn't about taxes or treaties. It's a coded note, just 3 lines long, from his agent in Paris. The message warns of a plot orchestrated from across the Channel to assassinate Queen Elizabeth I. The plot is already in motion. The assassins are already in England. While Queen Elizabeth slept soundly in her gilded bed, the fate of the nation wasn't decided in the throne room. It was decided here, in the cold, cluttered study of a man running on paranoia and fever, a man who, officially, was just a secretary. Walsingham understood something his queen did not. Kings and queens are just targets. The real power is held by the person who controls the information. He was the originator of code-breaking, the master of disguise, and the man who literally saved England. This is the story of the hidden hand that truly ruled the Golden Age. History's ultimate puppet master, Sir Francis Walsingham. To understand Walsingham, you must understand the terror that shaped him. He was a devout Protestant who, while serving as ambassador to France, witnessed the St. Bartholomew's Day massacre in 1572, a wave of Catholic mob violence that left thousands of Protestants slaughtered in the streets. That horror burned a single belief into his mind. Tolerating Catholicism meant national suicide. When he returned to England, he saw the same danger. Elizabeth I was under the constant threat of assassination plots financed by Spain and Rome. The Catholic figurehead for every rebellion was already imprisoned on English soil, Mary, Queen of Scots. Walsingham realized the Queen's royal guard could only protect her from a dagger. He had to protect her from a secret. He convinced Elizabeth to fund his secret service, a true network of spies and informants that would cost him, and eventually the state, a fortune. He established the first modern spy system, complete with agents of influence, double agents, informants in every port, and most importantly, a dedicated department for cryptography. Walsingham didn't start as a puppet master. He started as a man constantly playing defense. His early years were a constant scramble against plots like the Ridolfi plot and the Throckmorton plot. In 1583, the Throckmorton plot nearly succeeded. Francis Throckmorton, a Catholic conspirator, planned a Spanish-backed invasion and a simultaneous uprising of English Catholics. Walsingham's men eventually caught Throckmorton, and under pressure, he confessed to the full plan. But even this victory taught Walsingham a bitter lesson. Simply stopping the plots wasn't enough. As long as Mary, Queen of Scots, lived, the plots would never stop. Elizabeth, terrified of executing an anointed queen, refused to act. Walsingham faced a moral wall. He had to convince his queen to commit regicide or risk a Catholic holy war. His new strategy became terrifyingly simple. He wouldn't just intercept the next plot. He would let it run until it fatally implicated Mary herself. He needed a guaranteed written confession of treason. He had to set a trap so perfect his target would condemn herself. Walsingham's greatest personal struggle was revealed not in court reports, but in his personal ledgers. The intelligence network was cripplingly expensive. Agents in Rome and Paris demanded huge sums. Bribes had to be paid to double agents, and the network's expenses often ran higher than the Queen's assigned budget. So, Walsingham did what no intelligence chief would dare do today. He bankrolled the entire operation out of his personal wealth. The man who saved the kingdom from financial ruin died nearly $30,000 in debt. He was the shadow of power, sacrificing his health and his fortune for a queen who in the end refused to fully acknowledge his work or pay his bills. Worn down by stress and illness, Walsingham knew time was running out. He had to secure the throne quickly before his own body failed him. The trap was finally set. It was called the Babington Plot. Walsingham let a young, vain conspirator named Anthony Babington think he had established a secret, reliable communication channel with Mary, Queen of Scots, who was then imprisoned at Chartley Hall. The key to the entire operation was ingenious. The letters were hidden inside a waterproof container, sealed inside the cork bung of a beer barrel, delivered daily to Mary's chambers. Everyone involved believed the route was secret, but Walsingham had already compromised it. Every single barrel was secretly intercepted and rerouted to a safe house where Walsingham's most valuable agent waited. Thomas Philippes, the world's first professional codebreaker. Philippes didn't just break codes, he was a master forger. He could carefully steam open the seals, transcribe the coded letter, break the cipher, and then use a specific identical wafer of wax to seal the letter perfectly back up. His work was painstaking and crucial. Philippes even had a unique symbol he used on his own transcriptions to mark the most sensitive parts, a tiny personalized gallows. For months, Walsingham had Philippes patiently intercepting, decoding, and sending the letters, allowing the plot to simmer. They read Babington's increasingly ambitious plans for Elizabeth's assassination, but they still lacked Mary's explicit written approval. Walsingham waited, pushing the moral line further and further, praying the assassins wouldn't move before the evidence was secure. Finally, on July 17, 1586, the crucial letter arrived from Babington. He detailed the plot, 5 separate assassination attempts to guarantee Elizabeth's death. Walsingham now had the method, but he needed the motive. Then came Mary's reply. Philippes spent all night decoding the cipher. The moment of revelation must have been electric. The words, transcribed perfectly onto the page, read, "I approve the plan and shall pray for its success." But Walsingham, ever the puppet master, still wasn't satisfied. He instructed Philippes to add a postscript to the decoded letter, a seemingly innocent question to Mary, asking about the names and numbers of the gentlemen who would perform the tragical execution. Mary wrote back, confirming the details. Walsingham had not just intercepted a confession. He had engineered a double confirmation of treason, closing every legal loophole. Walsingham now moved with terrifying speed. He arrested Babington and his fellow conspirators, ensuring Elizabeth's safety. The letters, transcribed and decoded by Philippes, were used as the centerpiece of Mary's trial. She was found guilty of high treason. The final step, however, still relied on the puppet, Queen Elizabeth. She agonized for months, refusing to sign the death warrant. Executing Mary meant political fallout and setting a dangerous precedent for future monarchs. Here is the ultimate act of the puppet master. Walsingham, convinced that any further delay risked national ruin, took matters into his own hands. He reportedly had his secretary rush the signed but unissued death warrant to the executioners without Elizabeth's final, explicit command. He forced the Queen's hand. The reveal. Walsingham, the most loyal servant in England, had secretly deceived his own monarch and sealed the fate of a queen, all to save the throne. He controlled the most consequential act of the century, not with the Queen's permission, but by a calculated act of insubordination. Mary was executed in February 1587. Elizabeth was publicly furious, claiming she had been betrayed. She punished the messengers, but the result was undeniable. The domestic Catholic threat was severed. Within a year, the Spanish Armada sailed for England. Had Mary been alive, England would have been destabilized by an internal Catholic uprising while fighting the Spanish fleet. Walsingham, the man in the shadows, had cleared the path for Elizabeth's greatest triumph. He was the unsung architect of England's security. He died in 1590, impoverished and exhausted, buried quietly at night to avoid creditors. He never received the public accolades he deserved, but his legacy lives on. His methods, agents of influence, targeted disinformation, and systematic code-breaking didn't just save a queen. They invented the modern Secret Service, a silent, powerful hand that still controls nations today. Walsingham was a revolutionary. He proved that knowledge is the ultimate weapon and that the greatest power can belong to the ghost in the machine. But here's the question. If saving your country requires betrayal, financial ruin, and moral sacrifice, is that a hero or a villain? Let me know your thoughts on Walsingham's dark bargain in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history's true puppet masters, please take a moment to hit like and subscribe. We'll be unraveling the secrets of the French court next. Thanks for watching.